You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today's Monday the 27th of January 2025. You're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, and thankfully today has been a bit more of a return to productivity. The only thing I haven't really done that I should have done was exercise. So once again, I didn't sleep very well last night, and as a result, I wasn't sure I was going to be as productive as I needed to be today. In fact, for the first part of the day, it rather looked like I wasn't going to be. So I watched some Twin Peaks. I'm into season 2 now. There is only 8 episodes in season 1, and the season 2 opener is a double-length episode with all sorts of weird stuff, including Mr. Hom from Star Trek The Next Generation. Anybody who watches Star Trek The Next Generation will know that's the name of Lwaxana Troy's valet. But anyway, he's also Lurch in the more recent, not the most recent, but the kind of the 80s, 90s iterations of the Addams Family. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I watched a bit of that, and then it slowly began to dawn on me that I was going to have to do something today. Otherwise, there was no chance of me getting the work I needed to get done this month. I sort of talked yesterday about maybe extending it into next month, but I really don't want to because I've got my annual training sort of from the 4th of next month. And really, I'd rather be concentrating on that in the days leading up to that. So I kind of decided, well, the 2 things I needed to do today. It's my book club on Wednesday. I hadn't started the book until today, and I've read 130 pages of it now, which is the first third. And actually, I'm quite enjoying it now. It's science fiction, so it's the sci-fi fantasy book club. But quite often the books are more fantasy than sci-fi, and this one is a proper sci-fi from what I can see. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's quite. I mean, the sort of how to put them. The state is that's controlling all the people. It's dystopian. It kind of feels a bit like the Federation from, not the United Federation of Planets from Star Trek, but the evil, nasty Federation run by Servalan from Blake 7. Anyway, so I kind of planned to read a bit of that, and then I thought, right, the only way you're going to get this done tonight, you're not in the mood to write at home, is to go and sit in the coffee shop. So I had a small amount of shopping I needed to do. I needed to get some milk, I needed to get some fresh vegetables, some eggs, and a few bits and pieces like that. And also, Waitrose are a collection point for John Lewis. And there's a few bits for the bathroom that I had ordered. So some new hooks for the back of the bathroom doors to hang not so much towels, but dressing gowns and stuff on. And then a new toilet brush and a new shower mat. Anyway, they'd all arrived, so I did my shopping. The car park was very full, so I had to drive around in circles till I found a space. And then I came out of Waitrose with a bag of shopping and a couple of boxes, bunged them in the car, and then went back inside. You could see people looking pissed off because they thought I was about to make a space available. But I didn't. When I sat in the coffee shop, and I wrote another 3,000 words of chapter 40. So that takes me up to about 4,000 words of that chapter now. The other thing I was struggling with a little bit was I know which death scenes I wanted to do of which characters, but it was quite how I rounded the main storyline off that I was struggling with. So I've written down a 9-scene breakdown. I think it's a 9 scene. It might be an 8 scene. But basically it's 4 scenes. It might be 8. Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's 4 scenes showing what happens to some of the ancillary characters as they die, and then the other scenes are what happens to the good guys in the forest up in the Cairngorms as they search out the final soldiers that could put pay to their plans to surviving into the future. So I'd already written scene 1, which was the death of Ronnie's parents. Scene 2 is featuring a trap set for Vickers and Shavar, and they get very badly hurt in that. Scene 3 is we don't actually see the Prime Minister die, but we see what he's done to ensure that none of his family suffer. And it's not Torchwood, he doesn't go after him with a gun. I did consider that. I did consider him basically inviting all his family around and then shooting them all. But then I thought, well, no, one, he's got a much bigger family than Frobisher from Torchwood, and secondly, that was a very powerful moment in Torchwood, and it would feel like I was ripping it off. So I didn't do that. So basically, they all have a big dinner, and he poisons them, and they all basically go and sleep off have a postprandial nap in the lounge or in the in the red room, which is this enormous room because he lives in a mansion, grade 2 listed, don't you know? And they'll go and eat and fall asleep and presumably die. So that scene's written. Then there's the scene where Ronnie finds what's left of Shavar and Vickers, and realises that Vickers is basically on the verge of death and she's got to get into his hibernation tree. And then the basic scenes I've got left to write are, I think there's 4 scenes left. Yeah. So we've got 2 scenes in the forest with my good guy characters, and 2 scenes in of people dying. So the next death will be Lord Farnborough and Mr. Woods. Well, two of his Mr. Woods, because he's got a couple of people that are younger versions of himself that he uses to do whatever he needs to do. He's got 2. Whereas Ursula has only got 1 younger version of herself, which is Ronnie, and Crothers has only got 1 younger version of himself, which is Mackenzie. Farnborough's got 2 versions, or more than 2 versions of younger versions of himself, which are Mr. Woods. His driver and so on. So yes, there's a scene about what happens to them. There's another, and the other people we get to see die are a couple of Ronnie's friends from university. Although one of them doesn't die, is the little twist that I'm going to shove in at the end there. She gets rescued by a Scalt and dragged into a tree. So there we go. Approximately half, maybe slightly under half of that chapter is now written. So I think tomorrow I'm going to have to sit in a coffee shop again, and not as late, I don't think, to make myself get it done. But I got it done. So finally a bit of progress to report. I've got 4 days to write it. So that's 2 days of writing, 2 days of editing. I could do what I did last time and finish it in 1 day tomorrow. I'm not going to task myself with that, but I know exactly what I need to write, so it is feasible that I will do that. So hooray, some good news. Thank you for listening. Hopefully I'll be back with you tomorrow saying that the draft is done or nearly done, leaving me a day or 3 to get the editing done. Thank you for listening. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.